Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Prospects Central 101. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit of CJ Henderson. He was one of the guys who was originally talked about as a early junior in this class. Very highly thought of, probably the top, I want to say, junior corner at this point in time in the 2020 draft class. Henderson, whoops, actually want to go back to the screen for a second here. He is listed at 6 foot 190, 21 years old, so not really an age concern there at all, and pretty good size as well. He doesn't hit the 200 mark, but it shouldn't be too hard for him to put on 5 or so pounds over the course of the next 10 or so months. He is apparently he idolizes Joe Hayden, so that's pretty interesting. I'm hoping to see a little bit of physicality from him. Weight room phenom, blah blah blah, respected, confident, competitive, good character, basically is what it sounds like to me, which is always good to hear about. So let's get into this here a little bit with some of his 2018 tape from last season. Florida, of course, is the team that plays the first game this year, about 3 weeks from the time we're recording this, so that should be pretty fun. And I will replay this. He is number 5. Oh. Okay, rewinding that, I guess. So first thing that stands out is the motor. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he's actually going to be starting up here at the top of the screen, outside the numbers of the 40 here, and he's going to come all the way across the field to force Shea out of bounds. Right there. Nice run. Okay. So one thing I will say is we were talking about this a little bit today at Detroit Lions podcast with Money Oruwariye, and how he doesn't really stand or stay down in his stance long enough. Would like to see a little bit more of that from CJ here. He's kind of a little too upright. Uh, it's not like egregious or anything, but you kind of like to see him get a little bit more knee bend and allow for a little bit more lower body flexibility there. Not to say that he's stiff, because obviously we can see at the end there that he does have the ability to leverage that inside out. And there we go. That's what the stiffness will and the getting lower will help with. Is we see that he has really nice quick back pedal and he stays low a lot longer. We just like to see him get a little bit lower at snap, so that he doesn't have to waste that extra step. But off coverage is not really a huge deal. And he doesn't get a shot there of getting low and the quick feet as well, which is really nice. A little bit of physicality there, which is kind of what I expected when I saw Joe Hayden's name pop up. Okay, so not really much of a force guy. Okay, so gonna look for how he opens in here. Okay, doesn't really waste a lot of movement, which is nice. Pass rush, nice angle. That was a really nice pass rush here. Does a really nice job of cutting outside here, and then he cuts underneath a little bit here. I think that's Bredeson's left guard, so that'd be Bredesen there. That's left tackle. I believe Runyon. top of the screen. Almost in nickel. Tight man this time. Want to see him again, and yeah, okay. Want to see him lower again. Right, he is at this point in the play with 7 seconds left on the play clock, almost straight up, and he never even really gets all that low. So really want to see him lower his stance. Leverage, and that hinders him even the backside of the play. Now it was a nice tackle, but again, a little bit lower there. Same thing, a little bit lower. When there's 5 seconds or less on the play clock, you should already be in position. Unless you're disguising. Okay, nice tackle. Got run over a little bit early, but... Oh yeah, he is not a force. He does not backside pursue. So you're not getting a Bryce Hall type of run support guy, which is fine. He can tackle a little bit better than Bryce Hall can, but he's not going to be able to do the types of things that Bryce Hall does in run support. And honestly, I didn't even really care much for that rep either. Gives up the inside leverage a little bit too easily. And he just completely shifts over and gives, that's Nico Collins, too much inside leverage at the snap here. Boom, Nico just able to cut inside here, and he's completely spun. Well, not completely spun, but completely angled. Zone coverage. I will say I do like the versatility in coverage, though. Nice tackle again. So his tackling does seem to be a lot better than Bryce Hall's. Okay, so... Oh, that was actually a nice throw by Shea. But what I do like about this play here is we're actually going to see this from the top. He's going to be on... I want to say that's Nico. I can't really see a number. But based on that being DPJ and that being a single number, my guess is going to be that that's also Nico Collins. And he's going to do a nice shot with staying patient initially, but then opening up when Nico takes the inside. And then he's going to stay stride for stride with him, staying phase with him throughout the entire course of the play. And then you're going to see Shea take a look here at this down the field shot with Nico. Nico's on some kind of vertical stem. And he ends up having to shift his read to DPJ because of the solid coverage there from Henderson. So, kind of clues a little bit without actually seeing what CJ was doing on the back of the play. Nice disguise. Oh, okay, so we do get to see him reinforced a little bit here. Really nice disguise play here. Does a nice job of lining up in set stance and then attacking the run and blitzing. Oh, gotta stay on your feet, Nico. Oh, nice pump fake by Shea, but Henderson in the other corner here, I think that's probably Wilson. Do a really nice job of staying on their guy, Donovan. Shed that? Nice. Good shot. I think Sty started. Okay. Nice job keeping the blocker free. Or keeping himself free from the blocker, I guess. Zone play, really like the angle. Oh, that was an easy pick. Really like the way that he angled himself in the zone to be able to keep his eyes on the passing. Nico is being really aggressive at the release point. He's just really attacking CJ. We've noticed this probably 3 or 4 times now. Watch how Nico Collins here, draft eligible receiver from Michigan, gets out of his boom. He just explodes right off the line. And I almost wonder if that was design, because we've seen it a few times already, if that's by design. Uh, Probably trying to exploit a weakness that CJ Henderson has. Oh. I'd like to see him be a little bit more active on plays like this. This is the second time I think I've noticed this, where he's not going into the play. Easy read. Okay, nice job of flipping there. Watch the hip flip. He's going to open out initially, then bam, has the flipping side when Tariq Black undercuts. Really fluid. Nice punch. Really like this physicality here. Right there, takes on Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's obviously got the physicality as well. I like how okay, so he's not exactly force player here. That I think might be 7, unless 7 is the edge. Um, but I really like here how he's on, I think that's Jordan Bell. And he's able to undercut and make a play on the exterior. Again, Nico Collins just really exploiting him at the line. Bam! Just takes off and goes. He doesn't even give CJ a chance to punch at the line in hard coverage. I wonder if that might be why Florida's adjusting and playing him off some as well. Something to just keep an eye on for in the other couple of games that we'll end up watching. Ball tracking here. Never turns his head. Can't track the ball. Yeah, it's an easy play for Tariq. He's trying too hard to play the receiver. Yeah, ball ends up coming free. That's more on Tariq, I would say, at that point. But um, yeah, that's not really the best of plays until that point. And first thing here, if you're inside the 10, you want to enforce that boundary a little bit tighter and force Shu to make a more difficult throw. Because he has, that's almost the equivalent of the numbers. So he has almost the entire space between the numbers and the boundary to make that throw. That's just way too much space. He's not even really, honestly, that's way too much separation even at this point in the play for Henderson. A pretty good hand positioning, I will give him that much. And his, but the reaction was a little bit late. He never turned his head to really track the ball. Don't really like that in the red zone. A little too hesitant there again in the run support. Got beat a little too quickly here at the line. Right here, you're going to see Diamond take the outside leverage, and I don't know if it's because he's in zone. That could be the case. But just let him get past him a little too easily, for my personal liking. Oh, man. Now, of course, another thing to consider, too, is Michigan has 3 of the top, I don't know, 25 or so receivers in all of college football right now. And Nico Collins, Simon Peoples-Jones, and Tariq Black. So, no matter who he's on, whether it be any of the 3 of those guys, he has there's a good chance that any of those 3 guys are better than probably 10 or so of the other 12 receivers he's seen over the course of the season. And not that Shea is the greatest quarterback of all time, because he's certainly not. Uh, but Shea is a better quarterback than most in the SEC as well. So, not exactly the easiest QB either to be going up against. Now, one thing that I will say, and we don't really get to see a lot individually from him on plays like this, where he's not really being shown, but you can tell, like, Shea's making his read, and I'm gonna almost say blatantly avoiding him. Uh, and I don't necessarily know if that's because he's covering so well that he's not open, or he doesn't think that he's gonna be able to make the throw. But for probably a combination of reasons, they're really not attacking Henderson as often in this half as they were in the first. In that play, they didn't even read him. That was a one read two progression play. So definitely much, at least seemingly much better in the second half than the first. But we did also get to see some of the negatives as well. So for those of you guys who weren't able to check into the Bryce Hall one that we did, or maybe I actually might be posting this one first, I don't know. Some of the things that we're going to be looking for are footwork, and next, like quick active feet. Well, actually, no, I'm going to put this thing here now. So we're watching CJ. Oh, so CJ Henderson from Florida, and we watched the Michigan 18 game. So footwork, we're going to be looking for active, quick feet, limited wasted motion, excess wasted. Pick your phrase there. So far, I'm going to say that's a 9. He's done really well with his feet. Staying active, staying out of quicksand. Fluidity of motion, athleticism looks to also be pretty good. We got to see the hips open up really nicely. Body adjustment there as well. So that's pretty solid so far. Run support, on the other hand, not so good. I'm going to give him a late day 3 grade there. Not really seeing a lot. Pass rushing was good. Actually, I bumped that up to a 6. This pass rushing was really nice on that one pass rush we got to see. Tackling, haven't really seen a lot, so I'm going to go safe with the 8 there for now. Ball tracking, 7. Again, that one play in the right zone, really, really knocking that for me. Not really seeing him get his head around as quickly as he'd like. Not really making a whole lot of plays on the ball. And we haven't seen an interception just yet, so Variance of coverage, I'm going to go with a 9. He's looked really good in both zone and man, as well as off. Patience positioning, I'm going to say 8 mainly. At this point, I'm not completely confident in that through one game, which is why we're going to watch 2 more. But overall, patience has been good, but probably not great. In fact, honestly, I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, considering how he got beat by Nico a couple times at the line. And positioning, again, that touchdown that he gave up kind of hinders that a little bit for me. Enforcing the boundary, same thing. That touchdown that he gave up. Of course, a lot of these I'm really judging based on the one play, which is a little unfair. But we haven't really gotten to see him do that yet either, which is kind of why I'm going with the 7 to 8 range. Route recognition and discipline, I'm going to go with a 9 for that so far. He looks to be doing a really nice job in terms of reading routes and not being overly handsy. And intangibles, we've already seen leadership and things like that. Character, he tends to be a leader and all that good stuff. So I'm going to give him a 9 in that category for now. So next game here we have is versus LSU. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to go with the Missouri tape first, so we get to see him against Julock. Whoops, there we go. The Denver Broncos second round draft choice this year. And we end up getting to see him against the receiver as well. Should be interesting. They had a couple of decent receivers, if I remember correctly, last year. Emmanuel Hall being the main one. Yeah, and you can tell, like, especially at the end of this play here, first off, he gets beat by the quick release at the line. Maybe beat's the wrong word. I don't want to necessarily call that getting beat, but he gives up a lot of space for someone playing tight, I should say. And then that leads to him giving up a lot more space on the back end of the play also. That time, not so much. That time, he was a lot more physical at the line. Oh, man. I get you're in zone, but at some point you have to recognize this receiver right here. Yeah, okay, he's watching the quarterback. He knows he's not going to target him. So it's not a complete fault, but still, I would like to see him move down a little bit sooner and a little bit more than he did. He's just going straight back, so that's his own play. Cover 3? No, because he's attacking downfield, so it's probably a cover 2. Invert. Nice patience that time. Wasn't overly aggressive with the line. Okay, got to see a little bit of the undercut ability here. Nice. So I like how he's able to get in and out of tempo here. Right here, he starts out pretty slow moving, I'm going to say, to keep up with the receiver, but then he's able to hit second gear and accelerate and make a play on the football. Really nice. Kind of shows a little bit to his recovery speed as well. Nice patience. Much better job enforcing the boundary on that play. I'll probably bump that up to an 8. Nice job staying in position throughout the play. And again, we really get to see the flexibility here and the overall athleticism of the upper body. Actually, from the start of the play even, you get to see him open up inside very quickly, right here. Bam. Already open. And then he's going to get undercut here. And he's going to be able to flip really nicely and limit the amount of ground so that even if the quarterback decides to throw it to this receiver here at this point in the play on the out, he's able to undercut this and make a play. That was a really nice shot of staying in phase throughout the entire play and getting in and out of phase. Ooh, nice physicality at the line. Didn't really get to see that a lot against Michigan's bigger receivers, but he does a really nice job there with a nice punch. Forcing him outside, actually, too. So not only did he get a nice quick punch in there initially, but he also redirected the route, which is even better. It's bonus points right there. Really like his press ability based on that. Nice, open. This game already much better than the Michigan game. Boom, just really nice ability to open outside and quick and close. I don't really necessarily want to call that quick and close, but oh man, yeah, run support not there. Okay, nice zone. Good job switching over to the tight end. Nice undercutting the block there. I don't really want to call that a shed because he wasn't engaged, but he looks very fluid. Easily agile, change direction. It's going to be fun watching him do M drills. Nice patience down the field there and off man. Zone of some kind, I'm guessing. Or disguise zone, at least. Nice block shed. I want to see him be a little bit more physical with the tackle, though. Nice physicality at the line. He's being much more aggressive this game, which I like. But yeah, on the other hand, he can also do that as well in turn and run. Nice disguise blitz. Oakwood bottom wide open though. Oh man, really engaged physically. Nice open. Nice undercut. That's a great play. And we get to see this here, right? Fake out inside, makes up the inside leverage, and then right there, he's going to do a great job of staying in phase and not creating separate, and reducing the separation. Right here on the cut, bam, he does a great job of seeing in and being able to affect the pass. That's an excellent play by Henderson. That's really, really prime positioning. He's looking really, really fluid. A lot more so than I was expecting for someone I was going in expecting to be more of a physical, tight corner. That time he got caught a little bit. Are you going to show me the other look at this? They are. Good. Oh, okay. So, this is kind of interesting here. I don't necessarily want to call this lack of speed because I don't think he's slow. Uh, but he kind of gives up a little bit too much separation here. And part of that is because he waited a little bit too long to be physical. which is something that he hasn't been doing this game. For the most part, he's been really nice in terms of being aggressive with the line, but instead, here he chooses right here, and at this point in the play is when he loses all of his leverage, and Locke just has to place it behind him. And also, another thing too, in fact, actually, I'm going to wait for this angle to show it a little bit better, is ball tracking. Whoops, they're not actually going to show that angle. But at this point in the play, he's not tracking this ball at all. We haven't even seen him turn his head. Even here at the hands, right? The receiver's hands are already up. He still hasn't turned his head. So ball tracking is definitely not something that he is pro ready for, I guess is the kindest way to put it, just yet. Man, I really like his physical tools, though. Probably should have thrown that. Like he looks quick, right? So maybe it's one of those situations where he's more quick than fast, because even his footwork, he's really nimble and agile. I mean, you can see with his feet, he's able to change direction with his feet very quickly. So I'm not really completely against his footwork. And he doesn't really look that slow relative to other receivers either. That was a nice tackle. He's just, I don't know. Nice patience. Nice disguise blitz there. A lot of the corners in this class that are on the boundary are actually showing really nice blitz potential, which is interesting. I wonder if that's something that's going to carry over into the NFL when defensive coordinators get their hands on these guys. Like, oh, you can blitz? All right, cool. Send a little bit more outside corner blitzes than we're seeing in the current NFL today. And the other thing too is that some of these guys who are 6 foot might be able to play a little bit more nickel, and hopefully with bigger nickel receivers like AJ Brown coming in, or wow, I just call him a nickel receiver, slot receivers like AJ Brown who are coming into the league, you might be able to match up some of these 6 foot, 6'1" guys who are typically in the older NFL boundary corners inside in the slot against some of these bigger slot receivers. So that's going to be something interesting to watch uh, in this 2020 draft class as well. Particularly someone like Bryce Hall, I think would be a really great fit for that role. Uh, now that I'm thinking about it, has the ability in run support, has a little bit of blitz acceleration, disguise blitz ability. Teach some of these corners some pass rushing moves, and man, really like how he's being patient in the red zone this time. Right, so he's not really giving up as much ground. He's staying a little bit more patient, closes the separation boundary little bit cleaner. Same thing there. Much more patient. Very nice again there. Oh, he ended up knocking that out. So he did get out of phase here a little bit at this point in the play. But you get to see that was kind of helped by a bad throw from Locke. But still, oh, look at the ref. Zone play. Another zone play. They're playing him a lot in zone. Nice run there from Locke. I'm really interested to see his M drill in Indianapolis for a couple of reasons. First off, because he's not really getting low in his stance. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he comes in and out of that in backpedal. Though he does do a really decent job of staying low in his stance once he gets there. Also, because he looks really, really fluid, especially in terms of upper body, right? Right here, he's able to flip inside here, and then he's able to reverse and flip back out. He never gets really spin cycled because of that. So it's going to be real interesting to see how his change of direction plays with the feet as well as the upper body. And we'll get to see that really, really detailed in fact, actually, I was talking about this a little while ago with the nickel. But we'll really get to see his footwork shine in Indy. And hopefully it looks even better than it does in game without him having to mirror receiver. Because he looks like someone that you would expect would have clean reps in Indy with those feet drills. And if he doesn't, that's just going to be even more of a red flag. So overall, much better that game, personally. In fact, I'm actually going to go back and edit some of these already. He's the second guy. Footwork. I'm actually going to bump this up to a 10. I really, really like how fluid he is, especially with the hips. He does such a nice job of opening in and out. And overall, the speed, I still want to make sure that he has the speed. I don't think we're going to be able to see that until this year. But overall, he looks like he has enough speed to me. Like, if you're faster than a 4.5, you're fine. So I'm not really all that concerned with that. On the other hand, I'm going to I'll bump that up to an 8 and bump that down to a 5. I do not really care much for that. Tackling, fine, patience. I'll bump the patience and positioning up to a 9. We got to see a little bit more of that. Got to see a little bit more of that as well. I think the rest is fine now. And that was LSU 18. So yeah, overall, I'm really liking him so far. From you can tell from the grades, that's outside of the run support, an average of about an 8. Well, actually, including the run support, that's about an average of an 8. So he's around the first round grade for me at this point. I'm gonna estimate without having actually calculated. And we got one. Oh, that was Missouri. Rip. Let's see. Well, I'll put Missouri on here. Nice job enforcing boundary there. Got to see that a lot more on that rep. Nice shot not being too aggressive, especially on a third down play. Yeah, timing was though. That's nice. Yeah, that was a face mask. Okay, oh, rip on the tackle, but overall, I like how he was doing a nice job of reading the run play here. He stays in the gap. He just misses the tackle. It was really good mental awareness on his part. Same thing. Oh, they saved my pass rush even. Nice. Great play call by Florida's defensive coordinator on that look. Nice. Nice undercut. Didn't really take the best angle, partially because he had to avoid the block, but not too bad. Nice patience. Getting inside to start. Okay, not really too bad. You like to be in zone. But again, what I really like here is how he flips this, right? Boom. Limited wasting motion on the switch. Right here, bam, just completely flips. It looks so natural and smooth. I really like his ability to open. That was nice. Really nice playing run support. I'm going to have to move that back up to a 6, I think. Nice tight coverage. Probably could have done a little bit better. Okay, that time he actually got his head around a little bit. Probably, yeah, what I was referring to a little bit better, that's still quite a bit of space on the boundary here. And he does like to be barely out of phase, just a touch. You would like to see him be a little bit tighter up top, but that's still good enough to be able to get a hand on the ball, so you can't really blame him too much. It just could have been a tad better, but he did his job, I guess. Oh my, that looked way overkill. Ripped his hackle. I almost don't know if I want to call this run support because of like a motor issue, because it doesn't seem to be motor. Like he makes plays, um, but I don't necessarily want to call it a tackling issue either because we've seen him make tackles. It's more inconsistency with both, I guess. So I'll probably mark him down like 2 or 3 in that area. It's not even like as shiny as that, but like right there, he should be able to catch up. I don't know if he just wasn't trying to, or he didn't think he could, or he knew someone else was. Oh, it's good coverage by 21. Oh, that was no, but the missed tackle again, right? So you got to see the motor and the run support to attack, but you got to see a missed tackle just after the last play where he probably could have made the tackle and. Oh. Okay, so one thing I'm going to talk about with this is he's obviously going to be impressed. And he gets a little bit too over aggressive. Now, what happens, the receiver is able to use that disadvantage and release that. Fortunately, he got backside pressure, and that wasn't his read on the play, but still something that at the NFL level is going to have to be worked on, fixed, adjusted. Okay, got to see him a little bit as a force there. No guarantees he wouldn't made the play, though. Much better job on that play enforcing the boundary. Really nice team coverage in general. Uh, Worked out for a pick six. Another thing I'm noticing is what mostly in this game is the amount of pressure that Florida's generating is really helping him out in terms of length of coverage. Uh, Obviously, he's doing his part in covering, and so are the other corners as well. They're doing a pretty nice job of covering long enough for the pressure to get there. But overall, Florida's defensive line is doing a lot better. Oh, man. It's doing really, really good in terms of bringing the heat. So, he looks to be tracking the ball at first. Like right here, he's doing a nice job of bringing the quarterback in the throw. But then, like right there, as the ball's coming in, he stops. Like this is probably the point in the play where you would most want your head turned to A, avoid DPI, and B, get yourself the best chance of making a play on the ball. I don't know. I just really want to see him, and especially if you're going to push him at the end like that. Fourth and go for it. Pressure again. Nice pick. Nice patience. He actually got caught a bit out of phase there again. Right here. He takes a little bit too long to recognize the route adjustment and flip. But yeah, so overall, not as good as a couple of the other guys I've seen so far, but still decent. He has a lot of, again, the tools that I like. Um, and the upside is very much there. But he's still lacking in some of the areas I want to see him improving going into the 2019 season. So footwork looks quick, looks agile, uh, nimble, all those positive words. Really like what he can do there. Doesn't seem to be wasting a lot of motion and movement, which is nice. He does get wide a little bit at times, though, which is why I only gave him a 9. Would like to see him tighten the feet up a little bit and stay within base a little bit more, especially on mid-intermediate routes. For the emotion, as I've been talking about, I actually really, really love that so far from what I'm seeing. When he flips, assuming it's timed appropriately, unlike the very last play we saw, he does a really nice job of opening very, very quickly. And even in terms of, I'm sure if there were a double move, he does a really nice job of being able to adjust and not play recovery speed in that as well. He looks like he has really, really nice recovery speed in terms of close. In terms of actual speed, I still want to make sure that he has that before I completely say, oh yeah, he's like a 4. I don't think he's a 4-3 guy. On the other hand, I don't think he's stable or 4-7 either. So that's something. I think he'll be around DeAndre Baker 4-5. Maybe a little bit faster, maybe a little bit slower. Kind of hard to tell in terms of track speed where he's at. But in terms of game speed, I don't have really too much concerns there, which is why I'm fine with giving him the 10. Pass rushing and run support, I'm going to bump that up to a. Do I want to go 7? I think I'm going to keep it as 6. There were some more plays he could have made in that area, I think. And pass rushing, nothing too special. I did like the angle he took on the sack, though, which was kind of nice. And he does look like he might have the ability to bend based on his athleticism. So I do think he has a little bit of pass rushing upside, especially if you give him nickel snaps or dime snaps. Run support, kind of would like to see him work a little bit more there. For my taste. Of course, I'm a little bit harsher on run support than a lot of other people are too, simply because I'm Lions fan and that's something that we put a lot of emphasis into. Tackling, I'm going to bump that down to a 7. We saw him miss quite a few tackles. Not necessarily form. I think it's more of an angle thing too, which is kind of goes into the run support. You know what? I'm actually going to keep that in 8 and add that to my justification for keeping run support at 6. Ball striking playmaking, I'm actually going to turn that down to a 7. I really want to see him turn his head around sooner. I really want to see him get his hand on more balls on the boundary, more so than in between the hashes. In between the numbers, he looked a lot better because he wasn't having to deal with the spin and tracking the ball as much. He did a little bit better tracking the ball in the middle of the field, but on the boundary, really want to see him get his head turned around much. Well, first off, at all. Second off, faster. Ratings and coverage, I'm going to keep that at a 9. Pretty solid, across the board in terms of all coverage. And even got to see a little bit of press as well, though I do think I want to see him be a little more patient and press. Just get the hand out there, keep him at bay, and then flip. Instead of aggressively attacking at the line of scrimmage, and then letting the guy blow past him like we saw in the one play. Patience positioning, I actually kind of like. Patience is also pretty good. I think I'm going to bump that down to an 8 because I do like guys like Hall and a couple of the other guys I've watched on the side a little bit more. But that's still like a first strong grade, so it's not like hating on him or anything. I want to see him be a little bit more patient sometimes, a little bit more aggressive at others, and then the positioning at times, want to see him be a little bit more tight. Enforcing the boundary, did get to see a little bit more of that. I do think I'm going to bump that up to a 9 because we got a bigger sample size of that in this game. And he is doing a pretty decent job of reducing space. It's more so on the boundary passes, him not getting his head around and tracking the ball. So it's not really an issue with him reducing the window. It's the fact that the windows that he's giving on the back end of the play, the final phase, the third phase of the play, are a little too large. Discipline 9. Outside of the one press play that we saw, he looked a really nice job of keeping his hands at bay. Not really too aggressive with the late hits or anything. Didn't have any face mask issues. Wasn't handsy or anything like that. So that's really nice to see. Mental discipline was also nice as well. He didn't really have any issues in that area. Route recognition probably could improve a touch, but we also did get to see some out route recognition as well. So, not really too much of an issue there, which is why I'm giving him a 9. And then intangibles, I'm actually going to bump that up to a 10, based on what we're seeing so far. The report, all positive. We got to see him calling plays out as well, which is really nice to see, especially for a sophomore. So, no injury history or anything, it looks like. So, all those things combined, I'll give him a 10 for the mental side, the intangibles, all that good stuff. So, with that being said, that is 19, 28, 30. Well, actually, just to double check this, I'm going to use a calculator so that I don't completely look like an idiot here. When I can find my calculator. Oh, I use the. Okay, so 10 plus 9 is obviously 19, plus another 9 is 28, plus 8 is 36, that's what I thought. Plus 9 is obviously 45, plus 7 is going to be 52, I want to say. Yep. Plus 8 is going to be 60. Plus 6 gets you to 66. 76. Whoops. I have to do plus 10. And then 76 plus 9 is going to be in 85. So I was actually a lot higher on him total than I was expecting. But overall, I think that really points to his physical tools, as well as his character, leadership, all that factoring in. His mental upside as well. I kind of factored the upside and things like that in. But the things that he really needs to work on are getting his head around and the run support. Overall, otherwise, a lot of his actual coverage traits in terms of man coverage, zone coverage, where he's at, how he positions himself, things like that are pretty much first round type of traits. So it makes sense that I gave him a borderline Pro Bowl type of grade. But I really want to see him work on the playmaking ability because he's not really ever going to reach his potential if he keeps getting called for PI or if he keeps missing picks or things like that. So overall, 85 out of 100, which is very good. That's that's between first round and All Pro, which is around Pro Bowl. In fact, I actually define 85 as borderline Pro Bowl. So that's what we're going to give him there. Biggest biggest strength is definitely in fluidity, and then his biggest weakness is run support. Well, actually, you know what? Because it's a bigger deal, I'm actually going to go with ball tracking for his biggest weakness. So, with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, learned a thing or two. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on mainly YouTube, but also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For now, hope you guys enjoyed this one, learned a thing or two, and have a fantastic rest of your day. But for now, peace out.